This is our October 10th mentorship call, and I am assuming you guys are coach rank, correct? Okay, cool. So drop in the chat for me who your upline is and how long you guys have been coaching. And excuse me while I finish dinner because I'm solo parenting and on the 3-day refresh, so I get vegetables. Okay, put in the chat who your upline is and how long you've been coaching. You guys see the chat at the bottom? Hi, Madison. We are dropping in the chat who your upline is and how long you've been coaching. Congratulations, Emerald today. That's awesome. Just now starting to actually work. Okay, cool. Ashley Smith, 2 months. Okay, so while you guys are dropping that in the chat, I want to start just by talking about objections. If you haven't already, you are going to come across this. Objections. Anyone new hopping on, I asked you guys to put your upline and how long you've been coaching in the chat. So I want to talk about objections, and this is something that I talked about with my team this week. If you haven't already, you are going to hear objections a lot in this business. And one that we hear a lot is cost, right? So I wanted to talk about, just real quick, briefly touch on how to, like, different ideas on how to combat this objection. And then we're going to open it up just for Q&A. So you're always going to hear, I can't afford it, right? And a lot of times I immediately jump to, oh, well, why don't we, set up, like, what if you cut out Starbucks? What if you stopped going to the drive-thru? How can we make a plan so that you can save a little every week and afford this by the end of the month or by my next group or whatever, like, or now, right? Like, what can you cut out now so that you can afford it? And that's not a bad strategy at all. But I realized when I was talking to people that they would say, oh no, I don't really think I can afford something like that before I even give the price, right? I'm telling them about my group and I'm like, would you be interested? And they are like, well, I just don't think I can afford something like that right now. And I haven't even told them how much it costs. So something that hey, you got to turn that down. Something that I have been trying to do lately is I'll come back and say, hey girl, like, I totally get it. What is your budget for health and fitness for the year? And a lot of times they'll come back to me and say, oh, I would say probably like $300, $350 for the year. And then I'm like, oh girl, you're in luck because this is way cheaper than that. Right. And so then you kind of like catch them to where they can't really be like, oh no, I can't actually afford that. Another way to combat objections, and you guys might have heard this before and you might not, so sorry if it's repeat information, but I like to break it down by month, right? So it's $150 right now. Let's see. What's 150 divided by 12? That's $12.50 a month. And I also tell them, as a bonus, for free, you get to try my favorite superfoods or my favorite pre-workout and post-workout. So it's $12.50 a month. That's cheaper than Netflix. So I tell people, like, if you can afford Netflix, you can afford this. which is like Netflix for your health, right? Another thing you can do is break it down by day, right? So what's 150 divided by 365? It's 41 cents a day to have access to a digital workout library. It's 41 cents a day. You can compare it to other gym memberships. I like to list everything that they're getting for 150. So it's not just like, it's 150 to join this group. No, it's 150 for this group, any of my other groups, workouts all year long, a month of my shake, a shaker cup, access to a ton of recipes, a ton of nutrition plans, and me as your coach. So make sure that you guys, when you're dealing with objections, that you talk them through it. Kind of ask more questions and see where their actual hang up is. Is it with money? Is it just that they don't have time? Like, figure out what their objection is and speak to that. So we'll open it up to questions. If you guys have anything, you can drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Hey, that's loud. All right, guys. I'm just going to eat until you ask questions. Do you get people thinking you're being pushy? You do every once in a while, but I don't, usually the way that I'm coming across, and because of the relationship that I've built already, I don't come off as like being pushy. Though I'm very much like Micah in the sense of like, I'm tough love, and like I will call it out. Like, girl, I just saw you get your nails done yesterday. How can you tell me you can't afford this? Like, I know that was $40, but I'll kind of like do it in a loving way, also like a joking way. Like, girl, I saw you just got your nails done yesterday. That's like $40. That's like a third of what this costs. You could totally do this. Next month, my challenge for you is to not get your nails done and do this instead. The response that I get a lot is, oh, good for you, but it's not for me type of thing. So I always tell my girls, you have to have a problem if you're going to offer a solution. If somebody is going to the gym and they tell you, like, I don't like home workouts, it's not for me, they don't have a problem that you can solve yet, right? So you've got to find their problem. So someone that would tell me, oh, home workouts are not for me, I love Pure Barre, or I go to Orange Theory or whatever, I say, oh, that's awesome. Like, how are you liking it? Is it getting you, like, is it working for your goals? And then I might ask, like, how many times a week are you getting there? And you would be surprised. I've had people tell me, oh, I try to make it to a class like twice a week. What? Okay, so what do you do on the other days? Girl, this would be perfect. Like, this is not only just accountability, but like on those days that you can't go to Orange Theory or bar or the gym because you're a mom and you're driving around like crazy, you could do this on the other three. It's not, and I always tell them, like, you don't have to give up something that you love. I think that fitness, in whatever form or fashion it is, if it works for you, then that's awesome. And I encourage them in that, but I also tell them, like, you're not getting to the gym as much as you want to. Like, why not try this on your off days? Why not take this to the gym? I've had a coach who used to take these workouts to the gym, and now she does everything at home because it's easier and it's less of a time suck. Another thing that I always address when people tell me it's not their type of thing, I ask, like totally fine if you love going to the gym, girl, you do you. How's your nutrition? Are you using any supplements at the gym? Those are things that can, you can introduce Energize. You can introduce the performance line. You can introduce The Ultimate Portion Fix, To Be Mindset, any of that? Good questions, y'all. I feel like I'm always eating on these calls also. That's mom life. All right, what else you got? If you're new and just hopping on this call, drop your upline and how long you've been coaching in the comments or in the chat. The comments. I am not on Facebook Live. Can you hear me chewing? No good. All right, questions. Let's go. Specific objections to coaching. Hard time explaining the coaching fee without things sounding complicated. So anytime someone asks me or I tell them about coaching, I just say, let me send you this quick graphic that I had made up. It explains everything without me having to like word vomit. And I send them a graphic and it literally has everything there. I actually had a girl come back to me this month and she was like, hey, like I just got like billed for this fee on my credit card and this other thing. Jenny, sorry. I have a 3-year-old who doesn't like to go to bed. Can you come get the monitor? I think she's talking. And she was like, I got this bill or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's probably your coach business fee. I explained it above. It was all in that graphic. She was like, oh, okay, sorry, I just forgot, and that way it kind of covers your butt. Like you sent them the graphic and then they can send it and it's clear on that graphic. I can absolutely give you that graphic. I don't know how to do it in this though. So I will give it to Micah or whoever your upline is. I think you said Micah. Yeah. I'll post it in our leadership thread so that whoever your upline is will push it out to you guys. But chances are there's also probably one in your team page if you search for it or look in the photos. The one I use is super old, but it works. And I will put that. I'll do it right now so I won't forget. Any other questions? Also, I save this graphic in my phone. I have an album on my phone called Beachbody Resources, and I save it there so that I always have it. Okay. How do you did I already answer that? How do you personally explain the fee, the cost of running a business? What do people just want the discount? So I tell them that you're signing up for the exact same membership that I get. So like we're going to be on the same, but the difference is you don't have to do any kind of coaching. However, Beachbody can't track that. And so for tax purposes, because you literally tomorrow could go sell something, they have to have like your social, they have to like, this is just part of the discount membership. You still end up saving money. So even if I get people all the time that are like, I just don't understand why I have to pay this fee. Even if you don't, it's the cost of the behind the scenes, running your website, putting things in a box and shipping it. All those people that actually put the package together and send it out to any like one that orders from you, that's kind of like covered in this fee. And even if you don't ever do any of those things, Beachbody can't like pick and choose who does and who doesn't, because you could sell something tomorrow, really. Like, you know, if you go into my challenge group and you see amazing results and your mom asks to do this, you could sell her a challenge pack, and Beachbody can't be like, oh, well, you had this one kind of membership where I wasn't charging you this fee and now I have to switch. And so I just tell them like, that's why they do it. And even if you never sell anything, you still end up on top. Like, you still end up saving money with this discount, even with the business fee. Yeah, calling it like a wholesale membership, like a Costco membership. What do I use to track invites? So I have the Rise book. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but Moira, a top coach in our network, she wrote it. You can get it on Amazon. And that's kind of how I kind of track invites. This is a confusing question. So I set weekly invite goals instead of daily. Every single day when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do before I open any messages, before I even get out of bed most of the time, is I go to my stories and I look at my workouts from yesterday, and I send 20 invites from people that are watching my story. It's the first thing, because then I know if I get nothing else done that day. I'm a busy mom of 2 little girls. Like this week I've been solo parenting. So there are days when I want to know that I at least did 20 invites, and that is moving my business forward. So that's what I do before the morning, every morning, but I don't necessarily write those down. I just know that I do 20 every day. And when someone responds back to me about like, oh yeah, that group, that sounds really good, then they go in a follow-up collection on my Instagram. If they expressed any interest at all, they go into a follow-up collection on my Instagram. And I also have in that Rise book, there's a customer hot list and a coach hot list. And I will put those people on that list for that month, because those are the people that I want to go back to the next month if they tell me no. And so that's kind of how I track my invites. I also used to use a Google spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet, and I would put everybody that I messaged on that list. And then I had like color-coded things for myself so that if they messaged me back, then I would put like an X in a column. If I invited them, I would put an X. If they were someone I knew I wanted to follow up with, I would highlight their name. So any kind of just list, whether it's on paper, whether it's computerized, where you know, and whatever kind of like system works for you, that's what I would do. I've recently switched over to the collections on Instagram, but I still also use paper and pencil. Okay. What do I say in my invites to my stories is what I'm assuming. I say, hey, Ruby, I saw you checking out my stories yesterday or I saw you checking out my workout stories yesterday, and I'm really loving this program. I actually have a group coming up, and I wanted to see if you were interested in joining us. We start on Monday. Always, always, always ask a question. Short, simple. I'm not brain dumping. I'm not loading them with information before they say, hey, yeah, that sounds really good. Yes, I always send thank you for following messages to new followers. And they would sound something like, hey, Brianna, I just saw that you were following me, and I wanted to say hi and introduce myself. I'm MK. I'm a mom of 2 little girls, and I recently moved to Florida. I love all things fitness. I used to play water polo in college, and now I'm just doing my thing at home and keeping mom life real. Where are you from? Simple, normal. Sounds like what I would say to someone I meet on the street. Any other questions? Oh gosh, I am not one to ask about growing your following. This is something that I suck at. But what I will tell you is you do not have to have a huge following to have a huge business or a growing business. Out of all the leaders that run these calls, I consider myself the one that grew the slowest. But I am super proud of having a team that may have been slow to grow, or like I don't pop like 5 new diamonds every quarter, but my team is consistent and they show up every day. So like usually once I do have a diamond, they don't drop. So I love that my team is strong and consistent. And I say that to encourage you because you don't have to have a lot of followers. I did not have a lot of followers when I started this. My closest family and friends would not support me, but they will come around. I played sports in college, and so my water polo team, like, we're very close knit. But they made fun of me a lot because I was a hardcore athlete working out 2 hours a day, and now I'm like, you can get in good shape with 30 minutes in your living room. Most of them are doing these workouts too. Most of them now, after 4.5 years, have either tried them before in the past or are currently doing them. My mom, who used to say, nobody wants to see that stuff on social media, she's been doing the 21-day fit for over a year. And she calls it the 21-day fit, and she knows that it's not called that. So you guys, they will come around. You don't have to have a big following, and you just have to show up every day and be consistent and be sharing your journey. Some of my tips for growth using hashtags. Instagram is always changing, so learn as much as you can about Instagram, but just use hashtags that are pertinent to your picture, and then search those hashtags before you use them to make sure you have a good mix of really high volume hashtags and then a little bit more niche hashtags. So like you don't want every hashtag that you use to have 2 million posts or 9, whatever is high. I don't know. For growing my following, one of my favorite things to do is I go to a blogger that I like, or a company that I like, or someone that I like. And they don't even have to be they don't have to have like 17 million followers. It could just be anything, like a local blogger even that you like. And I go to their pictures, and whoever is commenting under their pictures, I will follow and engage with, because I know that they're showing up on social media. I know that we kind of have the same likes. And I think growing your network is one of the most time-consuming parts of this. But slow growth and quality growth is better than high jumps and not quality followers. You really want to focus on engagement on your page, or at least that's my focus, rather than followers. I have almost 8,000 followers. I've been using 21 Social. I personally don't like it. I know a lot of other coaches use it, but they're cracking down a lot on like third party, and I would have canceled by now, except they billed me for another month and then like wouldn't let me cancel on the day that it was billing anyway. So I'm stuck with it for another month. But since I've been using it, my engagement on my page has gone down. My followers have gone up. So great. I have a high number of followers. So like pats on the back to my ego. I don't know. But like when your posts get like less engagement, I'm like, this isn't worth it. I'd rather go back to like 4,000 followers and more engagement on my page. So when I started this, I had 300 followers 4.5 years ago. So it's possible. Giveaways are great. You know, you can research any kinds of things to up your followers, but I think like slow and steady growth is the best. I think a lot of you guys are echoing that that's good to hear. I remember being in your shoes and like hearing from top coaches and just thinking like they got there so fast, like it must be so easy for them. And it would both be discouraging and light a fire for me, but just know that like some people rank advance fast or make a lot of money fast. They're still putting in the work. Don't get me wrong about this, but everybody can make this happen if you show up and give it consistency and time. Like don't compare yourself to how fast Ashley Smith grew or Micah grew or anyone. Like if you show up and are consistent, it will pay off. What type of giveaways did I do in the beginning? It could be something so simple as like you're giving away like 3 beach bars or samples of your favorite Energize in a shaker cup, and all they have to do is like tag a friend or double points if they share it, you know, like, and sometimes I'll get giveaways where like 10 people enter, but whatever, it's 3 samples of Energize. It's getting your name out there. All right, we have like 1 minute. One more question. All right, I'm going to end this chat Zoom call, and then we'll all have to, if you're staying on for the Emerald and above training, join again. I don't know why I have to do